It is absolutely shocking that in the year 2026, a time completely dominated by electric powertrains, aggressive hybrids and futuristic designs, the Kawasaki W800 not only survives, but thrives with an unapologetic, vintage soul that feels like a glitch in the matrix. It is a machine that seems to have time traveled from the 1960s, with its spirit intact but its engineering perfected, and to see a major manufacturer commit so heavily to a genuine, air-cooled, vertical twin engine in an era of strict emission regulations is nothing short of a miracle. It defies the industry trend of sterile efficiency and plastic covers, offering instead a mechanical heartbeat that leaves riders utterly speechless. With its authenticity and refusal to conform to modern standards, what truly makes the W800 a special, mechanical unicorn in today's market is the exposed bevel gear-driven camshaft, which is a feature you simply do not see anywhere else in the modern, mass-market motorcycle world. It is a piece of engineering jewelry that forces you to stare in disbelief because watching the chrome tube running up the side of the cylinder head is mesmerizing and nods to a forgotten era of mechanics that prioritized beauty alongside function. It is a feature that shocks mechanics and enthusiasts alike because it is incredibly expensive to manufacture and completely unnecessary for pure performance. Yet Kawasaki kept it, purely for the romance and the special character of the machine. The sound of the 2026 E800 is a shock to the system. For anyone who has grown accustomed to the high-pitched whine of modern sport bikes or the silent hum of the electric motorcycles filling the streets, it produces a 360-degree crank thrum that is distinct, guttural, and incredibly soothing, with an exhaust note tuned to perfection to emit a pea-shooter burble that sounds classic without being obnoxious. It is genuinely surprising how Kawasaki managed to keep that rich, soulful acoustic character, while strangling the exhaust with modern catalytic converters to meet 2026 environmental standards, resulting in a sound that feels illegal. And how good it is. In a world where matte plastic and carbon fiber are the norms, the sheer amount of high-quality chrome on the 2026 W800 is blindingly special and almost overwhelming to the senses. It is shocking to see metal fenders, metal side covers, and chrome handlebars that gleam with a depth usually reserved for custom show bikes, costing 3 times as much. The reflection in the exhaust pipes is mirror perfect, and the attention to detail in the polishing process suggests a level of craftsmanship that most manufacturers abandoned decades ago, to save costs, making this bike feel like a premium artifact. If you look closely at the suspension and engine details, the finish is not just good, it is startlingly premium, with a quality that seems to defy mass production techniques. The way the light hits the engine cases makes them look like liquid silver, as Kawasaki has utilized finishing techniques that make the bike look wet, even when it is dry. The special clear coats and paint depths used on the 2026 model create a visual depth that makes other retro-styled bikes look like cheap toys in comparison, leaving you wondering how they offer this level of detail at a standard price point. The riding experience offers a vibration that is intentionally engineered, which comes as a shock to riders used to perfectly smooth and sterilized modern engines. It pulses with life beneath you, communicating exactly what the engine is doing, without numbing your hands, providing a tactile feedback that is truly special. It connects the rider to the road in a visceral way that modern, counterbalanced engines try to hide, making the bike feel alive, breathing and reacting, which is a rare and special sensation that reminds you why you started riding in the first place. The fuel tank on the 2026 800 is a masterclass in sculpting, boasting a shape that is both historically accurate and aesthetically stunning, in a way that modern angular tanks just cannot match. The paint quality is shocking, often featuring hand-painted pinstripes or multi-tone fades that look like they belong in a museum rather than on the street. The knee pads are integrated perfectly, and the badges are often heavy, tactile metal rather than cheap stickers, serving as a centerpiece that draws the eye and holds it there, forcing you to admire the curvature and the lustrous finish. It is a delightful surprise to see how Kawasaki has integrated modern LED technology into a strictly retro housing, without ruining the classic look that defines the bike. The round headlight looks completely vintage from the outside, maintaining the classic silhouette. But when you flip the switch, the illumination is shockingly bright and precise, cutting through the night with modern efficiency. It is a special blend of old-world charm and new-world safety, proving that you do not have to sacrifice visibility to look cool, and even the turn signals maintain a large, Classic shape rather than shrinking to tiny modern specs. Sitting on the bike, the rider is greeted by two large, beautiful analog dials for the speedometer and tachometer that are a shock to the digital screen generation in 2026, where almost every bike has a TFT display resembling a tablet. The W800's simple, elegant needle sweeping across a numbered face feel incredibly special and grounding. The font used on the dials is retro-perfect, and the lack of complex menus or Bluetooth distractions allows for a pure meditative, writing focus that is becoming extinct in modern transportation. The seat on the 2026 W800 is not just a place to sit. It is a tuck-and-roll work of art that offers a level of comfort that is surprisingly high. It offers a plush sofa-like feel that contrasts sharply with the thin, plank-like seats of modern street fighters, encouraging the rider to slow down and enjoy the journey, rather than rush to the destination. The piping details and the texture of the upholstery material feel expensive and durable, creating a special philosophy embedded in the bike's ergonomics that prioritizes long-term enjoyment over aggressive posturing. Despite its heavy classic appearance, the handling of the 2026 800 is shockingly agile and capable of dancing through corners with ease. The 19-inch front wheel gives it a stately, neutral steering feel that inspires massive confidence, yet it tips into corners with a grace that defies its retro geometry. It does not fight the rider. Instead, it flows through curves with a fluid motion that feels like dancing, which is special because it manages to feel substantial and planted without feeling clumsy or overweight. Like many other retro clones, you might expect vintage brakes on a vintage-looking bike, but the W800 shocks you with modern stopping power, hidden in a classic disguise that keeps you safe. The ABS system is so refined and unobtrusive that you forget it is there until you need it, and the feedback from the levers provides a progressive feel that is far superior to the wooden feeling of older drum brakes. The visual integration of the calipers and discs is subtle enough not to ruin the retro vibe, striking a special balance between 1960s style and 2026 safety standards. The engine performance is defined by a flat, accessible torque curve that pulls from idle with surprising urgency and makes the bike feel faster than the numbers suggest. You do not need to rev this bike to the moon to get it moving because it surges forward with a locomotive distinctiveness that is addictive and satisfying. This low-end grunt is special because it makes city riding effortless and highway cruising relaxed, and it is shocking how a relatively modest horsepower figure can translate into such a satisfying and usable power delivery in the real world. If you tap your fingernail on almost any part of the 2026 W800, you are greeted with the ding of real metal, not the thud of plastic, which is perhaps the most shocking aspect of the bike's construction. In an age of weight-saving plastics and cheap composites, the W800 wears its steel with pride, adding a sense of permanence and durability that is incredibly rare. This commitment to using authentic materials makes the bike feel like an heirloom that will last for 50 years, rather than a disposable consumer product that will be recycled in 5. The gearbox on this machine is another area that feels special, offering a shifting action that is positive, mechanical and deeply satisfying. Every click of the lever feels like you are engaging with a high-quality machine, not just tapping a switch, and finding neutral is shockingly easy every single time. The clutch pull is light thanks to modern assistant slipper technology, which is a hidden special feature that saves your hand in traffic, while preventing rear-wheel hop-on downshifts. Blending modern tech with classic feel perfectly. Customization potential on the 2026 800 is shocking, because the bike serves as such a perfect canvas for personal expression right out of the box. While it looks perfect stock, the chassis and subframe are designed in a way that invites owners to modify it into a scrambler, a cafe racer, or a brat tracker with ease. It is special because it inspires creativity in the owner, fostering a relationship between man and machine that goes beyond simple ownership and turns into a hobby of passion and design. The sheer value proposition of the W800 in 2026 is shocking. When you consider the prices of other premium motorcycles on the market, you are getting a motorcycle that is made in Japan, with a level of fit and finish that rivals boutique brands, yet it is priced within reach of the average rider. It feels special because it does not feel like a budget bike in any way. Rather, it feels like a luxury item that has been underpriced, giving the owner a sense of pride that they own something truly magnificent. Without having spent a fortune riding, the W800 guarantees you will be the center of attention which can be a shock if you are used to blending in on generic commuter bikes. Strangers will constantly approach you at gas stations to ask what year the bike is, often refusing to believe it is a 2026 model because it looks so authentically vintage. This social aspect is a special part of the ownership experience, as the bike acts as a bridge between generations, sparking conversations with old-timers who remember the original W1 and young kids who just think it looks cool. The maintenance simplicity of the 2026 800 is a breath of fresh air and a shock in a world of complex electronics and proprietary diagnostic tools. While it has fuel injection, the rest of the bike is refreshingly accessible, allowing a rider with basic tools to perform oil changes and adjustments in their own garage. This mechanical honesty is special because it empowers the owner and builds a bond with the machine, contrasting sharply with modern bikes that are sealed shut and require a dealership computer just to reset a service light. Ultimately, the 2026 Kawasaki W800 is special because it has a soul, a quality that is impossible to quantify on a spec sheet, but impossible to ignore once you ride it. It shocks you by reminding you that motorcycling is about the wind in your face, the thrum of the engine and the joy of motion, not about having the most horsepower or the fanciest traction control. It is a rolling protest against the digitalization of the driving experience, and that makes it one of the most important and incredibly special motorcycles available in the world today.